Hi, I'm Zach Hill. I'm the plant record specialist and taxonomist here at Delights Nursery and Juniper Level Botanic Garden. Today we're talking about amorous aroids. So aroids that are blooming and looking for love. So one of the first love lilies that we're going to look at is, you'll probably smell it before we get there, is this beautiful Sarmatum venosum. This is an Indian giant. This is a native of the Indian subcontinent, this particular form. It's a very widespread species. It's native from China, across India, through parts of like the Arabian Peninsula, down into northern Africa. So we actually have a clone from Ethiopia that's hardy in the ground here as well. This one will get a giant leaf about 4 to 5 feet tall once it's done blooming. Obviously, it smells like sort of garlic and poop. So our pollinators are these flies, which go down inside the spathe, which is this part of the flower, and the spadix, which is the appendage that has the male and female flowers on it. And this releases the scent and attracts these flies to it. And they come down in here in the middle, and it creates heat and releases pollen, and the flies get it on them, and then they go to the next one, and then we'll have a round fruit with lots of little berries that sort of brownish when it's not ripe, but when it breaks open, the inner sections of the fruits are bright red. So it's really, you don't notice it until it breaks apart, but really easy to grow. It's like zone 6 hardy, so I mean it's hardy to like -10 Fahrenheit. Always in the stinky mood for open house in May. So
is the rhoda, is that an aroid too? Because it's got its little flower.
The ground.
The ground.
Oh no, the rhodia.
Yeah.
No, that's an asparagus relative.
Oh.
So behind us we have a not so stinky aroid. This one is you'll be familiar with from wedding flower arrangements, the calla lily. This is yet another aroid, a member of the Araceae family. So much like the Sarmatum, it's got a spathe, which is nice. This is a white, and then the spadix is the yellow bit in the middle. And these are from southern Africa. But again, these are hardy to like zone 7, maybe into zone 6, but not unfragrant. It doesn't stink like Sarmatum and Amorphophallus do. But also, here's one of our natives. This is Aracema pusillum. It's one of the jack-in-the-pulpits. This is from one of my coworkers who collected this in Clayton. But if you see the underside of the spathe is jet black.
Yeah, I have that in my woods.
Yeah, this is very common in low wet woods around the Carolinas, that it will grow with its cousin Amorphophallus, Aracema triphyllum. This one is diploid. Triphyllum is tetraploid, so this has 2 sets of chromosomes, and triphyllum has 4, so that prevents them from interbreeding. So because their offspring would be infertile because they would have three times the number of chromosomes. But this is a fairly recent split out from triphyllum. It used to be a variety, but it's distinct enough to be a species. Let's see. So I mentioned Amorphophallus. We have konjac here. This is another one that's hardy to like zone 6. I've seen them in Denver, Colorado. This one gets really large leaves in the summer. It'll start to leaf out in about 3 weeks. But I mean, this is in full bloom. This is the smaller hardy cousin to the Titanarum, which gets a big flower like 6 to 7 feet tall. We bloomed it 2 years ago on property. I think we may bloom it again this year. We're hoping that the tuber is big enough. So if it does, that'll be blooming sometime in June or July. So that would be a great, yes.
Do all of these focus on getting flies as they're pollinated?
Most of them, yeah. So they release carrion type odors that attract the flies that pollinate them, and then there'll be a string of, or a column of orange fruit on konjac. One we'll see in a little bit has blueberries that start pink and go blue, and that one the flies pollinate it, but they don't have to. I mean, it can self-gratify on its own and basically clone itself and form fruit. So that's Amorphalis cusianus, which we will see. It's one that seeds around the garden quite a bit. Yes. So not all of them smell bad. This is Pinelia times Cortita purple dragon. This is a hybrid Pinelia. It's a sort of a jack-in-the-pulpit relative. It's got a really long whip-like spadix and a little tiny spathe, but no real scent. This is a great perennial. Most Pinelias can become really, really weedy in the garden because they set lots of seed and they germinate really, really easily. But this hybrid seems to be almost completely sterile and stays in a nice clump. We just found a tetraploid of this from when we tissue cultured some. Yeah, one of its parents has really nice purple underneath, and it got that trait through the hybrid. When they come up in the spring, the upper surface is like black as well. So it's really, really pretty and just an unusual hardy aroid. I think it's like a zone 5 plant. We root it from leaf cuttings, which you can do some of the Amorphophallus that way as well. They form a little tuberous mass and then send up a bud. So Casey roots these. Yes?
What's the function of the spathe?
So the spathe is basically a modified leaf around it protects the male and female flowers inside. Aroids also are known to have calcium oxalate crystals in the tissues, so they can make your skin tingle and burn because it pierces mucous membranes. But some are edible, like taro. But you can see the male flowers are up here and the female flowers are down here, and they're attached to the back of the spathe. So males and then females down here. And this is just an appendage that
For the scent.
they do, yeah, that releases the scent. So boys, girls, and then sterile. So it's a really cool plant. It took us forever to actually get it. It was bred up in New York, I believe, and then it was hard to actually get a specimen, and our friend Hans Hansen, the Mangave guy, finally got a piece of it and sent us some, and we sold it. I think we're selling it now. So we looked at one native jack-in-the-pulpit. We can see a couple other not natives. This is Erycema serratum. This is from Japan. This is a smaller form of this plant, and unfortunately not blooming here, but it's got a similar jack-in-the-pulpit type flower. But, oh no, they're done. Erycema ringens, we might be able to catch this one in flower. It's called the cobra lily. It's got really big, they're just finishing, but it's got this cobra head flower, and it curls under, and the flies can go up in it and then get trapped in here and pollinate, and then as it starts to fade, it releases their pollinators. Behind us over here, we're going to see the really nicely amorous Amorphophallus cusianus. This is the one that I mentioned earlier that has the pink and blue berries. There's one starting there. But got it here. This is Amorphophallus cusianus. This is from Taiwan and southern Japan on the Ryukyu Islands. Almost completely tropical distribution, but solid zone 7 hardy for us. We didn't plant this. These are seeds that came up here. We didn't plant that one. The blue jays like to eat the seeds, and then they'll eat them and then pass them through their digestive tract. There's probably 150, 200 in the Leland cypress hedge across the street from where the birds go and use the bathroom. So spathed to about 3 feet, a little tiny, not a huge flower, not the biggest Amorphophallus, but certainly not the smallest. There are some species that flower like this that are tropical, that like Onxaculii, which has little palm-like leaves that only gets about 3 inches tall, and little tiny rice-shaped rhizomes. This is really super easy to grow. It'll have a leaf that gets about 3 feet tall, really dissected, sort of typical Amorphophallus look to it. But we'll walk around a little bit more.
We wanted to put this in our own yard. It needs like a shady.
It can grow in sun or shade.
Okay.
So I mean, can take average soil. It's really super easy to grow. It will form a large tuber underground and bloom. Sometimes they bloom, but then wait another year to send up foliage. So sometimes it takes a lot of energy to flower.
Right.
And then especially this one, since it fertilizes itself, it forms a large cluster of fruit, and that's a big expense on a plant to have that many berries, because there'll be probably 150, 200 berries on the thing, and it's really pretty, like bright, deep blue. It's not Carolina blue and it's not Duke blue. It's like in between, so that's fine. But behind us here, we walked by arum. So the Aroid family is named after, this is the type of the family, and they're Mediterranean. This is a seedling off of a consonnatum, Arum consonnatum. It's got a slightly smaller spadix and sort of a pale yellowish, little bit of red in the spathe. These are, some of the species are on some noxious species lists here in America. Italicum can become quite weedy in on the West Coast and in New England. Sets lots of fruit, comes up in the woods, is really difficult to get rid of. We grow a lot of the more tender species that are not so hardy, so they're not as big of a problem for us. So, what other aroids we can see? We can go out the fence, because one aroid that people don't usually think about are the elephant ears. The colocasias are definitely, they may not look like an aroid until they flower, and then they have the same spathe and spadix. But so we're not just growing all of them for flower. Some of them are for leaf texture as well. Oh, yes. So this is Colocasia Redemption. This is the new one from Brian Williams out of Kentucky. This one first starts out with a light center that then goes red or pink in the summer. This one is a really good seller for us. It's been hardy to mid single digits for us. Great foliage. These are just getting started. They'll get 4 to 5 feet tall easily this year. This is Brian's work. Tony and Dr. John Cho from University of Hawaii have been working together for years to trial new hybrids of colocasias, and so we've got a couple down here that are the newer ones out of the breeding program that we will be releasing at some point soon. So every year John sends us a bunch of new material to trial, and he comes out in usually August or September, and we evaluate the plants in the field and get rid of a bunch. But this one is Monoloa. It's one that's got these really corrugated thick leaves, and this will get large. Expect this, I think, next year. The dunny eyes over there? Yeah. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, so we're gonna go a little behind the scenes. We've got a couple big blocks of Amorphophallus in bloom in goat trials. One of the aroid experts said it smells like carrots, but I don't know that I trust his nose because he smelled a lot of stinky stuff.
What is the distinction between alocasia and colocasia?
Alocasia have vertical leaves. Colocasia has leaves that hang down generally. Yeah, they're starting to go back. So this is, yeah, there's no scent at all. This is Amorphophallus dunnii. It's a Chinese species. This one has, it does blue fruit as well, but it does offset quite well. So that's why we have this block that is just packed full of flowers. But it's a zone 7 hardy one as well. More Cusianus. We're just, huh? This is just a konjac seedling. So we had selected this because it was a short green stemmed one. This is like a second generation seedling. This is probably the first time we've ever bloomed this clone, but it's got a pretty substantial spathe and spadix going on. So I mean, konjac can get a little taller than that in bloom, but that's really good. We grow a lot of our aroids out here in the trials for sales. I'm trying to see, do I see Murate up yet? That should be, I don't see blooms. I see, oh, we can walk down here though. We've got, I'm not gonna die much. So, I mean, we grow lots of these from seed. This is Erycema heterophyllum. This is Chinese and Japanese, I believe, but it's related to our eastern green dragon. It's got these pedate leaves that are shaped like a horseshoe. No smell, great perennials. They're like zone 5 hardy. It has a little bulb. We grow lots of these from seed, and we make some hybrids and things out of these. Ouch. Sorry, something is stabbing my foot.
What's the weedy?
It's the Pinelia pedata secta is weedy. Pinelia ternata can be weedy. There's several of them. Cordata can be a little weedy. Peltata can be weedy. So this is Erycema triphyllum starburst. It's got these white veins in the leaves. This was found, it's been found several times in the wild with these variegation like this. We actually found that these veins are heritable in hybrids. So we crossed it with the cobra lily that we saw earlier with the overhanging flower, and we have intermediate ringens with white striped leaves. So it's amazing what we can do with hybrids. Yeah, that's another Ringens hybrid. And we're in the lull with some of the Chinese Erycemas. Franchetianum is just now coming up, and Fargesii is finishing. So there's some that don't come up until June and July, and some even into August. So, all right. Any questions? Questions? No? No? Okay.
Thank you, Zach.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.